You muted yourself, Linda. You muted yourself there.
Okay, there were signs today on Mission Trail about wood smoke is poison. New signs posted on the trees and written in chalk on the street right before you enter the trail. Just FYI, there's a movement afoot.
Interesting. Well, then they'll have to do something about the people who just moved in behind me with their fire pit that smokes into my house. So they'll have to do something about that if they're so concerned. Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Alan.
Oh, there you are. Well, it's 9:30 and it looks like we have a quorum. So let's get started. Roll call, please.
Linda Calafiore.
Present.
Donna Jett.
I saw her here earlier. Donna?
Oh, I see her. She might be muted. Ellen Martin. John might
Oh.
stop it. Jennifer Frezzo.
Here.
Okay, we're all good. Thank you.
Okay. Next, public appearances for anything not on today's agenda.
So I have one. This is Nancy with CRA. So
Go ahead, Nancy.
yeah, I don't know if my video's on. I can't see
It is.
myself. Yeah, that's all right. So we're going to, CRA is going to have a community table in front of the Shell layout at the farmers market on Thursday. So, and we'll be, talking about our organization and also handing out reusable shopping bags for folks who stop by. So just want to let folks know.
Oh, thank you. That will be fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for the invite to participate.
Great. Anyone else have anything? That's a small group today. All right. Announcements from commissioners? No, no, no. Okay. Announcements from staff. Ashley.
I don't have any announcements.
It is going to go quite well today. All right, orders of business. Receive an update from the Leadership Carmel Group on their Heart of Carmel project. Discuss, direct staff. Okay, here we go.
All right, so this item is back before you again. The leadership group has worked to answer some of the questions brought forward by the Public Works Department, which the Public Works Department was happy with. Those are included as an attachment here. So this should be a pretty quick review. And some of these things were items that came up during our last meeting. So thank you to the leadership group for working on those and getting back to us so quickly. I know you wanted a quick turnaround and we like to keep things moving as well. So I'll let Shannon and Scott speak to those items on the list and do a quick update of the project.
Fantastic. Wanda, you want to do a quick little recap for anyone that maybe wasn't on the call, and then Scott and I can jump in?
Absolutely. So again, my name is Wanda Ballmer, to those of you that weren't on the call, and I'm one of 10 members of Leadership Carmel. So we want to start off by saying good morning and thank you so much to the CAC committee for having us back. I'm here with Shannon, I'm here with Scott, and many of our other team members. We wanted to talk a little bit about where we're at, but before we do that, we just kind of wanted to explain our team. So as I said, we are 11 members and we form committees to work on different components of our heart project to make it come alive. So we're here today to ask and hope that you approve this project so that we can make this a reality. We'd like to start with a quick update on our progress so far. This is a very small town, as you all know, and our team members have been very busy engaging the community. We've been talking to our friends, our families, our neighbors, anybody that'll listen, and we've been met with quite a lot of enthusiasm and curiosity and questions, and we've been here to answer the call and answer. What we want to do is just to give this city a temporary art gift to shed some light on a very dark year that we had last year. So as you probably know, in last Friday's Pinecone, we were featured in an article from Mary Schley, so we got some notice there. We do have a Facebook page if you want to check us out at Leadership Carmel. And we've been asked by the Carmel Chamber of Commerce to present to their board this week. So we fully understand that not only do we need your approval, but we're going to need funds to make this project happen. So we've been working on sponsors for our hearts. So I'm going to pitch it over to Shannon to talk about sponsors, and then maybe Scott a little bit later to talk more about the logistics of our program.
Thanks, Wanda. So like Wanda mentioned, we've really put this out there to the community, to nonprofits, to businesses, to just locals who live in the community, and have had an overwhelming response of people wanting to support and donate to this project, to sponsor hearts and to sponsor their time, sponsor materials and labor to help put all of this together. So we are just so grateful that the community has stepped up in such a positive way for this project. We've got, like I said, we have real estate companies, we have construction companies, we have nonprofits, we have banks that have all stepped up, wineries, wine tasting rooms, retailers that have all stepped up to sponsor either full hearts, partial hearts. So we're continuing with our fundraising goal, as we're not quite there yet, but like I said, we're getting very close to meeting that goal and are excited to continue. I know a lot of the questions that had come up from Public Works, we did answer as best we could. We do have an update on some of those. So we have Scott here, so I'd like to turn it over to Scott, and we also have some additional images just in terms of the bases and kind of construction, how those are going to be put together. So if I can just share my screen, and then we'll let Scott kind of take it away with that. Let's see. You guys all see that?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, Scott, I'm going to start you off on this slide. If you kind of just want to jump in talking about some of the logistics on placement, bases, weight.
Sure.
I gotta say, I don't see anything. My screen is blank.
Uh-oh.
I can see it.
Okay, well, okay, guys, go ahead. I can't see anything, but.
Judy, after the fact, I can send the presentation over to you as a PDF. There's just 2 additional slides on this one, but I can share it with the group afterwards.
Okay, great, thanks.
So again, thank you all for hearing our group. My name's Scott Julian. I'm one of the 11 members of the Leadership Carmel group. I'm a local business owner with Lewis Builders, so I'm a design build contractor. That's how I make my living, but love to give back to this wonderful city, and this project has really taken a life. Those of you that are not familiar with a similar type project, heart project, the San Francisco General Hospital has started something very similar to this in about 2004. So this isn't a new idea. This has raised over $10 million to the San Francisco Hospital's Foundation. The city of Danville has successfully done projects of this nature, and the city itself actually of Danville is the one that manages it, and last year raised over $130,000 for local causes. And so we're extremely excited to, as Wanda and Shannon had mentioned, just bring some good spirit and some good energy, and what a better time than now. And so the heart we felt was very appropriate. We did evaluate some other shapes and other sizes, but we thought we'd stick with the heart since it really flowed with the heart of Carmel. We've limited this first year. We assume that this will take a life of its own, and if others besides our group decide to take this on, we're essentially all volunteers and doing this just for the love of the city. But if if this wants to go on for subsequent years, we, let that group determine where they would want to place it. But we've decided to limit it to just 12 locations. If we have opportunity to do more than that, and the city felt appropriate, we just didn't want to overwhelm the city with more than that. As Shannon mentioned, we've got an overwhelming response of sponsors on this. And so what you can see on your screen there on the left is actually at the fabricator. So there is a mold that exists. We're not reinventing the wheel. This is a base and a fiberglass reinforced heart that stands 52 inches tall and 52 inches wide. It's 10 inches deep. And with the bases that you'll see in subsequent slides, the whole thing weighs 200 pounds. We've engineered it in a way that it does not have to be drilled into or attached to, say, a hardscape, concrete, walkway, cement. It is self-sustaining. And we've engineered the base in a way that we can transport these safely, but 3 teenagers can't run off with a heart and steal it from a location without some significant effort. We've also made considerations if we were to get approval, say, for an ideal location that is high on my list, for such as Devendorf Park. If we have an unlevel terrain, we've engineered this in a way where we could, with Public Works approval, attach this into the landscaping as an example. So the image that you saw on the first slide was just a 3D rendering of a proposed location to be determined at the Carmel Plaza. We currently have the plaza support, and I'm working with the management there tomorrow to finalize locations. We're planning to do 2 art installations with these hearts at the plaza, one on the ocean level and one at the courtyard level. And so that heart that you can see, I know the picture is a little bit small, but that just gives you a reference of the size with a couple of approximate 6-foot humans there, just for reference, so you can see. Of course, these hearts will be very consciously placed. The locations will be all on plan sets, so that whether this is going to a property owner or if we get approval through planning to do this on any city public property, we will have spec sheets, proposed locations with 3D renders like you see here for approvals. And I think that's really it. I'm sure there's some questions, and as part of our logistics community or committee, I'm here to try to answer any of those that may come up.
Can you go over all the locations, all 12 locations that you've selected?
Yes. So the proposed locations, I'm not on mute, am I? No. So Carmel Plaza for 2 hearts, Carmel Women's Club, the Carmel Art Association, Harrison Memorial Library, Court of the Fountains, Devendorf Park, Flanders Mansion, Sunset Center, the Pine Inn Courtyard, and All Saints Church.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
One other thing just to mention is that we didn't intend that these be placed for any longer than 3 months. Our class actually, our Leadership Carmel class goes through May, and we meet once a month for an entire day. And in our May class, we're to present this project to the community. And so our intention, if all goes as planned, is that we would have these on display in the months of June, July, and August, followed by an auction. And all of the proceeds from the auction, and I referenced some of the funds that San Francisco and Danville had raised, we have some high aspirations. And we think that with our local artists and the talent that we have, we will be actually commissioning and paying artists to paint these appropriately with a committee that's going to, a panel that's going to select the artists. And these hearts will go on to auction, and the proceeds will go to benefit the Carmel Women's Club Youth Scholarship Fund, and also benefit the Carmel Chamber Foundation's fund to benefit future leaders in the community. And so that's really the mission of this project, is all these funds, all the net proceeds are going to be going back to the youth and for future leadership programming.
Great. Anyone else have any questions for them? Sounds good. I'll open it up to the public. Anyone in the public want to comment? Nancy, I see your
So yes, I have a question. Is just, can you explain your work in progress with regard to artist selection and sponsorship? How is that? What's the mechanics behind that?
Absolutely. So I can speak to the sponsorship. So like we mentioned, there's different levels. We have a whole sponsorship packet. We are under the umbrella of the Carmel Chamber of Commerce Foundation, which is a registered nonprofit. So all of the donations are tax deductible. And with each level comes different benefits for each sponsor. So recognition within the Chamber's Catalyst, on our Facebook page, social media, the walking booklet and map that will be printed in digital. So different tiers, and I'm happy to share that with everybody after the fact as well, for anyone that's interested in sponsoring. And then I don't know if we have anyone from our artist committee on today, but we are in the process of putting out a press release for call for artists, as well as the artist application. So the artist application, they will have to submit 2 different renderings, so to speak, of what their design looks like to be presented to the committee for the final selection. And again, it's going out just to local artists that reside within Monterey County.
All right, well, you just answered my one question about whether the artist had to be local or not. How's the auction going to work?
Yeah,
I think we have someone from the committee on. I'm sorry, go ahead, Scott.
I think I'm one of the 4 auction committee members, and so I could just speak briefly. We'll use the same platform that the Carmel Chamber of Commerce used for their annual gala. And so if any of you were familiar with the auction that actually preceded the event, we'll use the same platform. And so we'll have some potentially early buy opportunities and some other ways to support the project, all through an online auction.
Okay.
And one other thing to mention, this may be early on. I know the question about the artist selection. We really wanted to give, and thank you, Ashley, for giving us the opportunity to present this. And then I know we'll be speaking with Marnie further in planning. It was really to go through the appropriate process to make sure that we were appropriately heard, and that the community wasn't blindsided by something like this. And so we really wanted to, we're in that fundraising phase. So we're in the first initial phase where we're going to be acquiring. These hearts are not inexpensive. They're custom made. They're shipped from Chicago. We're going to fill a whole truck. We've got all the logistics figured out. That's our first phase, and we've raised just enough funds to meet that initial demand. But there's a lot of work ahead of us. So we've got 3 full months of work in terms of working with the artists, securing the locations, securing the additional funding, and then obviously installing these at the various locations. So thank you again for listening to us.
Thank you. Sounds like you guys got most of the bases covered. And Ashley, is the next step forward to go to tell me what the next step forward, Ashley, is.
I will tell you, but first I would like Ellen to speak because she had her hand raised.
I can't see Ellen at all on mine. Okay.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. Really exciting project for Carmel. And you did, I just found the information about the graffiti. So that's really great that you're using that product. I've used it many times on the murals that First Night Monterey, where I work, has used. So there's 2 things about the artists then. Will you be taking applications from like a organization that's an arts organization, or like, Carmel Youth, maybe they'll want to do one? And then the other thing is are you looking at different themes when you have your call for artists, or are putting your criteria together for selections?
Absolutely. So we will absolutely be taking group submissions, whether it's the youth, whether it's an artist collective, absolutely, that we encourage that. And then in terms of themes, the call for artists will be, what does Carmel mean to you? So it will tie back to a Carmel specific theme.
I just have one more then. What if someone wanted to do a heart that is in memorial of pandemic, people that have died from COVID, maybe in Carmel, Central Coast, Monterey County? Would that be something that would be within your criteria?
I think absolutely. I think it speaks to kind of what this whole project is about, is this time of pandemic and just need to come together in our community. So I definitely believe there will be hints of that in some of the artists' submissions.
Yeah, I agree with that. We can't ignore 2020. It impacted all of us in some way, and people lost lives, and people suffered. So I think that is a really good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Ashley?
Oh, Judy, going back to your question. Yes, the next step, as I explained at the beginning of this process when we first met to discuss Leadership Carmel's project, was that, we don't really have a policy that governs art in public places. Our art in public places policy was meant to govern the development of the city-owned public art collection. And that's not something that we've looked to do. It is costly for the city. So we've used a part of that policy to kind of work within those bounds so we can develop a new policy. As such, there's no committee for art in public places, which is again why this is before the Community Activities Commission. Committee for Art in Public Places was kind of an offshoot of Community Activities Commission and the Planning Commission. And I think it's very important that this does go to Planning Commission for final review. There was a question raised at the last meeting about, purchase of the hearts and placement of them permanently, where they would be able to be viewed from the public right-of-way, whether they're on private property in the residential district or in the commercial district. So I think that it is important that this be taken to the Planning Commission for review. And I've been working with the Planning Department on securing a tentative place on the March agenda for that so that they can hear that and review that, because the Planning Commission is very important in this community. And again, I think that would be our next step as a commission, would be to recommend that we approve this project and that the Planning Commission have final review, and that we will revisit at some point in the future art in public places, revising that policy and coming up and developing a program for governing that in the future. And thank you, Leadership Carmel, for being patient as we work through this process and kind of being the trailblazers on it.
We thank you.
We're happy to. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so Ashley, so we're going to call for a vote then on going ahead and forwarding this group to the Planning Commission?
Yeah, that would be the motion. A good motion, and you can amend it how you like, would be to direct staff to take the Leadership Carmel project to the Planning Commission for final review and approval.
Okay, and I brought up last week, can Donna vote or not vote because she's on the Women's Club and they're getting money?
Donna and I discussed this, and she has not commented on the project so far. So we discussed this prior to the meeting. So Donna won't be voting. She'll be recusing herself on this vote because she is a member of the board of the Carmel Women's Club, and there's direct monetary impact potentially for the scholarships.
Okay. All right, then I make the motion to have staff move this forward and get it on the Planning Commission's agenda, and CAC approves it.
I'll second the motion.
Leslie?
Okay, Linda Calafiore,
Yes.
Ellen Martin,
Yes.
Judy Refuerzo.
Yes.
Approved, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Leadership Carmel, we are very grateful and thankful. Thank you.
Thank you on behalf of the city of Carmel. So yeah,
Thank
a
you.
win-win, I think.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So that is it for today's agenda. Ashley, shall we open it up to anything else at once? Do we have anything we want to put on the next agenda is what I'm trying to say. Donna, Linda, Ellen.
No, I have a list of items for our next regular meeting, which will be that second week in March. So minutes like we would normally have, review of the farmers market, check in on where we are on special events, strategic planning, oh gosh, I keep wanting to say leadership, Citizens Academy.
Oh, good. Yes.
That will be coming back for review. Leslie's been working hard on that project. So we'll have a pretty full agenda for the next regular meeting. Does anybody have anything they want to add?
Oh, I just wanted to say that on TV this morning, they announced that Santa Cruz canceled their 4th of July.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more cancellation of events as we go in. I am taking a staff report to council on the March agenda. You'll see that. It is a lot of what we have been talking about in terms of our events. And my recommendation there is to consider canceling events up through late spring, early into summer. And that's in alignment with not only what we're seeing in other cities, but what we see our outside event organizers doing this spring as well. So, and at the time I wrote the staff report, which was funny because I started, and over the span of a week, we were looking good for vaccine distribution by the end of, the spring they were reckoning, and now it's been extended out to the summer. And then the day after I completed my staff report, the president was in Wisconsin speaking and said, I don't think there'll be widespread vaccination until late summer, early fall. So that threw my timeline off even more. So everything just keeps getting extended out and extended out. And I think that for the large scale gatherings, it's going to be really key, not only that the vaccine's widely available, but that people have actually been vaccinated. So there's two different things going on. Is the vaccine widely available, and have people actually gotten the vaccine? So, and that's going to take us a while, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, we're getting it, but unfortunately for the timeline.
Yes. I know I volunteer on the Concours on the Avenue, not which one. Well, the one that's actually put on by the Tour d'Elegance. That's what I'm trying to say. And they're still talking about whether that is going to go on or not.
Yeah, I think
have they come to you? Have they come to you at all, Ashley?
Not as of yet. We had a talk earlier this month about where they are in planning, and just like us, they're kind of playing it by ear. And some of the event organizers, like I said, for this spring have just said, we'll think about rescheduling for the fall. But as of right now, it's canceled. So, everybody's kind of taking a little bit of a different approach. Car Week is such a big thing for our peninsula. I think that the Car Week event organizers' approach is to see what they can do and what they can plan out. I think a lot of events are going to be private events turned into smaller gatherings and virtual, but we'll see. We'll see. It's still early. It's still February. So fingers crossed things will get better in March. But we can discuss again at the next regular meeting more in depth. And again, I'll by that time have presented from the council, and they may have provided me with some direction. So we can get into some more of the nitty gritty on that.
And that's the reason for having this meeting every other week, because it changes so constantly every week, it's different.
It does.
So, yeah, that is why we're doing this so often. So thank you, Ashley, for all your work, and Leslie, and thank you for everyone. So I think that we can adjourn the meeting. Yes. Okay. Thank you. See you all in 2 weeks.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And Shannon, I got I saw the screen.
Okay.
Take care, everybody.